what's up, Banana Fam? It's Giovanna, back again for another Ghetto video, and today we have this hilarious article from CheatSheet.com entitled, Star Wars, Palpatine's Return didn't come out of nowhere, people just weren't paying attention. Pray for me. Oh my god. The backlash against the Rise of Skywalker has begun. Wait, let's back up a minute, sis. You're publishing this article on July 2nd of 2020 and claiming that this backlash against the Rise of Skywalker has begun. Sis, I'm sorry to break it to you, but it has already started. It has started since days after this movie came out in December. So, your first sentence is wrong, so I don't know how much I'm gonna trust you leading into this article. In other words, some Star Wars fans have started to mount a defense of the movie and rehabilitate its reputation as a disappointment that failed to stick the landing. Episode 9 of the Skywalker saga made a great deal of money, as most Star Wars movies do. It didn't receive the degree of fan vitriol hurled at 2017's Last Jedi. However, there's been an air of disappointment about it, a feeling that it wasn't as good as it could or should have been. That said, almost every unloved movie has its defenders, and Skywalkers are coming to the fore, particularly regarding the resurrection of Emperor Palpatine. How well did The Rise of Skywalker do? If one goes by the box office numbers on the numbers alone, Episode 9 is literally a come down. The Force Awakens was even more successful than most people thought it would be. It made $937 million in its box office run, and it's still the most successful movie of all time in the US, even ahead of the almighty Avengers Endgame. The Last Jedi was met with good reviews, but considerable scorn from fans when the movie refused to confirm fan theories about race parentage and failed to live up to the movie many fans had in their head. So basically what this bogus person is trying to claim is that people hated the movie because it didn't line up with their fan fictions. I think any freaking dummy on the planet could tell that this is a bad movie. For, any person who's seen Star Wars could tell this is a bad movie. You have Jake Skywalker, you have an endless use of the formula of subverting our expectations to the point where it gets ridiculously boring. You have a useless Canto Bight side plot. You have Rey, who's all of a sudden just able to hold all these abilities with very little training. I could go on because we all know the reasons why we actually hate this movie. It's not just because a movie disappointed a lot of fans doesn't mean that and disrespected fans doesn't mean it's because that they wanted something specific. You know what I mean? If you think about it, the fans didn't really even ask for much. We just want quality movies that respect the lore and the franchise. You know what I mean? Because people are really passionate about Star Wars, and I think that's what a lot of outsiders don't really get, especially for fans, for people that have been fans of this, their whole life. Personally me, I've been a Star Wars fan since I was 5. That's more than half my life. And I'm not even 20. So let's continue here. It made $620 million here, which is certainly very good, but it wasn't enough for some fans to point and say, haha, told you, they screwed it up. Then The Rise of Skywalker came out late last year, and it made $515 million. So is that another case of, haha, told you, they screwed it up? Or is Episode 9 another misunderstood movie that didn't get its due because it doesn't mean what so many fans thought it meant? Here we go again with these journalists, film critics, whatever, claiming that fans are misunderstanding the movie. You literally... Oh man, alright, I'm not gonna even start. Alright, the next section of the article. Fans make their case for Rise of Skywalker. So then they have a YouTube video of what went wrong, which is 90% of Rise of Skywalker videos. Related, Star Wars fans jokingly call the First Order socially progressive. Oh my god, that's gonna be next video, quote me on that. Now that all 9 Skywalker saga movies are on Disney+, fans have taken the opportunity to binge them. And some like what they see in the final chapter of the saga. On Reddit, one fan wrote, "It works. It really works. I know a lot of people dislike the lack of a plan or expected different things from these films, but in a vacuum, it's just a really solid trilogy." It also feels surprisingly consistent from film to film. The Rey Palpatine reveal doesn't really stick out any more than Leia being Luke's sister did. Whatever. Another fan was even more blunt, writing, "Anyone who thinks Palpatine's return was somehow out of nowhere just hasn't been paying attention at all." The guy who engineered the fall of the Republic and the destruction of the Jedi while playing both sides of the Clone Wars like a fiddle would never let a little fall down a reactor shaft stop him. It wasn't just a fall down a reactor shaft. He had lightning, so he was blown up in a reactor shaft first. He was shocked to death or something. And then the second Death Star exploded while him in a electrocuted reactor. So how could possibly anyone come back from that? And the retcon was so stupid. It was like, oh, he's making clones. Like, what the fuck? What? All right, whatever. It's also worth noting that this argument holds up better if people watch the animated shows like the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebel series. See, the problem with bringing in, like saying, oh, it ties into the other canon, so it makes sense. No. The thing is, the movies have to stay consistent 1 through 9. George Lucas said this with 1 through 6, that it feels like you're watching one movie. All the Clone Wars and the Rebels and Resistance, it's just a spin-off of what we see in the movies. It's just another freaking side plot to give people content. The thing is, these movies were made to cater to general audiences. General audiences aren't gonna go read a book. They aren't gonna go watch a show. They're gonna watch the movie. And I had a friend who binged like 1 through 9 and didn't watch any of the Clone Wars or Rebels, and he was like, you know, why do people like The Rise of Skywalker? And then I gave him a bunch of reasons. He was like, oh, I think I kind of understand now, you know, because like, sure, not everyone could tell like what goes into this. Only like really passionate fans really, I feel like, really get Star Wars, but it doesn't take a dummy to realize the problems, especially once they've been explained. But anyways, I'm going on a tangent. Some fans don't, sticking mainly to the movies. There's a school of thought that will say that a movie only succeeds if viewers do their homework, then the movie hasn't really succeeded. Well, I think that's partly true, because it's applicable in the case to Star Wars, which has a lore. It has a culture. You know what I mean? Like, you have to know what you're doing in this universe. Comic book movies, on the other hand, you don't need to do any damn homework. You can make the characters whoever the hell you want. But in Star Wars, you can't do that. You have to keep things consistent. And if you're going to change something, it has to make sense, and it has to stick to it has to stick to the lore. I can't talk. Continue. The Rise of Skywalker got considerable criticism for basing its storytelling on ancillary products that only the most ardent fans would see. Were The Last Jedi and the prequel trilogy redeemed too? In my opinion, if I'm going to answer this question right off the bat, I think the prequel trilogy, I wouldn't call it redeemed, but I feel like people are just kind of, because the thing is, the movies hasn't really changed at all. It's just the way people are watching them. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, the prequels are like not that great of movies when it comes to like, when you're judging it based off of Hollywood blockbuster standards. They're good movies when you realize the art that's all behind it. And it's basically like a Shakespearean play. I go into this in my top 40 movies when I'm explaining Revenge of the Sith. Or no, top 10 movies. What am I saying? And then my second favorite movie is Revenge of the Sith. So go check that video out. Whether The Rise of Skywalker's reappraisal will stick remains to be seen. But whether a movie is a Star Wars movie or not, views of them shift all the time. Yeah, no. The internet is full of takes that say legendarily bad movie is actually good. It has happened with Ishtar and Speed Racer. It may yet happen with The Rise of Skywalker. One fan on Reddit noted The Last Jedi is starting to look better in retrospect, as is the prequel trilogy, two parts of the of the Star Wars saga that inspired considerable anger. So first of all, I don't know why these people are only quoting Reddit when they could be quoting, like, they literally put YouTube videos right here, and they could also quote people from Twitter, which is where a lot of this fandom stuff, I feel like, is really more prominent. Because the thing is with Reddit, it's just full of know-it-alls. Like, people think they know everything. I've had conversations on Reddit, and people are ridiculously, like, arrogant. It's really sad. But what this person right here is trying to say is that The Last Jedi and the prequel trilogy are looking better now because people are watching them more and realizing that they aren't terrible movies. That's not the case. The prequels were redeemed, if you want to say that, because people realized how 7 through 9 was, and realized that 7 through 9 was such a shallow, inconsistent story. But then you watch the prequels. If you watch the prequels back to back, you could really tell that it's really consistent. I would even say the prequels are a bit more consistent than the OT, but I'm not getting attacked today. So yeah, that's just my thing. Like, The Last Jedi, people are saying that it's going to look better in 10 years. I don't think so. I think a lot of people are still going to be disappointed with it. Yeah, see, literally, look, the next line is, give it 10 years and suddenly they'll be forgiven, like the fandom mostly has done for the prequels. I personally like all three trilogies in different ways. I can tell you now that when I watch the sequels, I enjoy them and I always notice something new. The Last Jedi is my favorite, but the other two have really great Star Wars moments. Yeah, because the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy are really I feel like really capture the essence of Star Wars. The thing is, the sequel trilogy captures what Ryan and JJ think Star Wars is, and they both have different interpretations of it. So, okay, I can respect that if you like all three trilogies in different ways. I don't like the sequel trilogy at all. It's no secret. But I don't think, I'm going to be honest, I'm open to being, convinced that The Last Jedi is, great or whatever in 10 years, but I probably won't change my mind. Yeah, but whatever. Why the hell are we getting into Star Trek? What is this freaking journalist right here? There's no conclusion to the article. There's just... What? Wait, hold on. Is there anything else about this article, or are we just going into Star Trek? Alright, that was really weird, but okay. So, I guess that's it for the article. Please drop your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Special shout out to Ichibaka again for putting this hilarious thing on Twitter. But, the thing is, my thing with this article is that it didn't explain what was in the headline. It didn't say, why Palpatine's return didn't come out of nowhere. They just quoted some things from fans and just talked about the stock, the box office numbers, and the reason why The Last Jedi and the prequels are redeemed or whatever. So, yay, journalism! I don't know, but please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking the video and subscribing, and I will see you all in another video. Peace out.